Good afternoon, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com here with your Hurricane Pro and HD video blog for the 14th of September 2017. We have a few things to talk about here in the Atlantic, that's for sure. Tropical Storm Jose out here, and this may be an issue for portions of the East Coast or New England. And then we have a couple of areas of interest out here that we'll look at more in just a moment. First, a satellite picture wide shot. And you can see that Jose is pretty disorganized for the mainly from the shear that's coming over the top of it, and it's been pretty battered by that. But the environment looks like it's going to change, and the water temperatures throughout its path here over the next few days are plenty warm for it to re-strengthen, and that is indeed what the Hurricane Center is showing on their track and intensity guidance, that right now it's a tropical storm, forecast to become a hurricane again, and then move up somewhere in the vicinity of possibly southeast New England up here. Maybe it comes up closer, like this. We're going to have to just see. It's a very complicated pattern. It could do some kind of a loop and try to come back. The bottom line is we're going to have to watch this very closely, and it's going to continue to radiate out these swells that will impact the East Coast. That'll bring smiles to the faces of the surf community, but those big swells can pack a lot of punch, a lot of energy with them, and you need to be very mindful of that if headed towards the beach over the next several days. I mean, this thing's going to be around for at least another week, believe it or not. And then out here in the open Atlantic, there's disturbances to keep an eye on. Luckily, nothing brewing in the Gulf of Mexico, just some strong upper-level winds, that's for sure, but really no tropical development seen in the models or elsewhere, in reality, so to speak, in the Gulf. Now, in the eastern Pacific, interesting arc of development here, and this really isn't going to do anything, so we can kind of just exit out. This is TD number 15E, and it's expected to go on to develop but move away from land. Norma could become a threat here to the Baja as a hurricane, and so you could expect hurricane conditions here, and then of course very heavy flooding rain, and maybe that rain will move up into the southwest U.S. So it is the season here of all kinds of busyness. Max, a hurricane making landfall right now in Mexico. This will die out quickly, but as you can see just by the way this topography shows up on the shaded, colorized, geographic version of the satellite picture base map, there is a lot of mountainous terrain there, and so the flood risk could be pretty substantial for Mexico. Looking at the eastern Pacific satellite loop, here's TD15E, mainly just going to move off in this direction. Here's Norma, and again, this is going to be a threat for the Baja, and then there's Max making landfall as I speak down here in Mexico. Again, the Atlantic, beyond the fact that we have Jose to track, two areas of investigation, both of these worth watching over the next several days, especially as the pattern is changeable, but still featuring fairly high pressure over the northwest Atlantic. And so these systems may make it pretty far to the west. And we're going to have to watch these very closely. It's that time of year. It's a very busy, active period this year. The Atlantic is warmer than normal. All sorts of other favorable things at play. And therefore, we have a long way to go. That's the bottom line. So we're going to be on top of it. Of course, you can follow Hurricane Pro on Twitter, and you'll see all kinds of information posted from time to time, especially when things become threatening for land areas. All right, well, that is it for me for tonight, or today, this evening, whatever it is. Actually putting this together around 5:30 in the Eastern Time Zone. I am Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com, of course, for Hurricane Pro and HD. I'll have more for you here tomorrow morning.